Captain Elias Rook never thought his words would cause such a ripple across the galaxy. Standing in the crystal observation hall of Aurelian Prime, he had leaned against the polished rail, arms crossed, with a half-smile on his face, joking in the way humans did to ease tension. The stars beyond the dome shone like frozen fire, distant points of light in the infinite black. Diplomats and nobles of the Aurelian Empire had gathered to witness the latest human delegation. And while their appearance was formal, their glowing eyes betrayed curiosity, admiration, and, in some cases, wariness. "So," Elias said casually, his voice carrying across the hall with a subtle human warmth, "after all this, maybe I should just marry into the royal family and save everyone the trouble." It was meant as a joke, a light tease, a human way of breaking the pressure that came with navigating a complex alien court. To him, humor was a shield, something to keep from showing the nerves that lurked just beneath. But to the Aurelians, words were binding. Every syllable carried weight, and every statement was measured as an expression of intent. The room went silent. Elias didn't notice at first. He watched as the officials exchanged subtle glances, energy patterns shimmering across their robes like liquid light. Then, from the center of the court, she appeared, Princess Seralith. She was taller than most of her people, every movement measured, every step carrying a natural grace. Her skin shimmered like a calm moonlit sea, soft waves of silver and blue tracing her form as though the stars themselves had lent their glow to her being. Above her head, a delicate crown hovered, not resting on her hair but floating, as if the air itself wanted to honor her authority. She had been observing Elias since his arrival, her luminous eyes calm but piercing. Others saw a human diplomat. She saw a spark of raw potential. "I agree," she said, her voice soft, yet carrying through the hall like a bell. "I will be yours." Elias froze. His breath caught in his throat. He straightened instinctively, suddenly aware of every witness in the room, every whisper of movement, every ripple of light across the walls. His smile vanished, replaced by disbelief. "Wait, what?" he managed, his voice rougher than intended. The murmurs of the court grew, a vibration of energy that seemed to hum through the crystal walls. Some Aurelians inclined their heads in respect. Others glowed brighter in surprise. And a few less diplomatic shifted uneasily. Seralith, however, remained serene, tilting her head slightly, her gaze unwavering. "You proposed union," she said, her tone factual, almost gentle. "I accepted." Elias's mind raced. A joke, a simple tease meant to break the tension. And yet here he stood, in the heart of an alien empire, apparently betrothed to its princess. I was joking," he said, words tumbling out faster than thought. "It's human humor. Bad timing. Very bad timing." The High Council stirred. Elder Vera floated forward, her form more light than flesh, her presence commanding even without words. "Captain Rook," she said, her voice like a ripple through water. "In Aurelian culture, words spoken before witnesses bind intent. A royal acceptance cannot be withdrawn lightly. Your human jest has become a matter of state." Elias's stomach tightened. A diplomatic misstep of this magnitude could ignite tension not just with the princess, but with the entire empire. Humanity was new to the galactic stage, still learning the ways of interstellar politics, admired for its resilience but feared for its unpredictability. He glanced back at Seralith. She wasn't angry. Her glow was calm, her expression unreadable to a human, but her eyes held expectation. She trusted him. She had chosen to believe in him without question. "I studied your people," she said quietly. "Humans value partnership, shared burden, mutual strength. You fight for those you choose to protect. That is why I accepted. Because you are human." Elias's chest tightened. That single statement made him feel a strange responsibility he hadn't expected. She hadn't chosen him because of the joke, because of duty, or because of courtly obligation. She had chosen him because she had seen humanity at its best. The courage, the determination, the willingness to protect others, even at great personal risk. Before he could respond, a ripple of alarm pulsed through the hall. The crystal dome flickered as sensors registered an approaching fleet. Unknown ships, hostile. The calm of the council fractured instantly. High-ranking officials bent over their energy panels, transmitting commands, scanning readings, and calling alerts to distant stations. The glow in the princess's eyes sharpened, and she turned to Elias with urgency. "If you leave now," she said, her voice steady but urgent, "the court will assume rejection. Division will follow. We may not survive an external threat divided." Elias felt the weight of the galaxy press against him. One careless joke, one light-hearted word, and now a hostile fleet was approaching. The future of this empire, and possibly the fragile alliance with humanity at risk. He swallowed hard, his mind racing. Training and instinct kicked in, pushing aside the panic, the embarrassment, and the disbelief. "All right," he said finally, his voice firm. "Let's survive first. Then we'll talk about marriage." Seralith's glow brightened in response. But this time, it was trust, not obligation. She had seen him rise to challenges before. She believed he could do it again. Outside the dome, the fleet slid silently out of hyperspace. Their ships were black, jagged, and cruelly angular, like shards of broken darkness moving through the void. A shiver ran through the council chambers. The Void Marauders, as the Aurelians called them, had long observed the Empire from afar, waiting for signs of weakness, division, or complacency. And now, they had found it. The first wave of Marauder ships fired energy pulses at the planetary shields. Bright arcs of violet light tore across the sky, leaving temporary scars on the blue atmosphere. Aurelian defense drones swarmed upward in response, silver streaks of energy cutting through the alien night, meeting Marauder fire with equal fury. Elias ignored the rising panic and moved toward the tactical console, fingers flying over controls he barely understood, translating alien technology into human logic in seconds. He coordinated drone deployments, shield adjustments, and energy pulse calibrations with speed and accuracy that surprised even the Aurelians. The Marauders were clever, but they were not human. Their strategies were predictable when met with improvisation. And Elias had an abundance of that. For centuries, humans had survived by adapting, by turning impossible odds into opportunities, by fighting when retreat was not an option. Here, in the heart of a foreign empire, that same instinct sparked again. Seralith remained beside him, her presence steady, providing a calm anchor in the storm. "Captain," she said, "they anticipate our defenses. Their fleet is highly coordinated. We must think differently." "Different," Elias said, scanning the display, "means something unpredictable. Something human." The battle unfolded outside like a slow, terrifying dance. Drones weaved through energy beams. Marauder ships exploded in silent fireworks, and the city below trembled from the force of near misses. Yet through it all, Elias and Seralith coordinated the defenses, their unexpected partnership creating a synergy that left the Marauders unprepared. For the first time, Elias noticed the subtle glow in the princess's hands. She wasn't just royalty. She was power incarnate. Energy patterns from her body interfaced with the shield networks, amplifying their strength. She was not a passive observer. She was a participant. And her trust in him allowed their combined abilities to become unstoppable. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had lost meaning in the whirlwind of strategy and instinct. Slowly, carefully, the Marauders began to retreat, their formations broken, their attacks uncoordinated. Elias exhaled, a mixture of relief and disbelief washing over him. The council chamber was quiet once again. The threat dissipated for now. Seralith turned to him, and in her eyes was gratitude, respect, and something that reminded him why she had accepted his foolish joke in the first place. "You see," she said softly, Humans fight for what they choose to protect. And today, you chose to protect us all. Elias allowed himself a small smile, still catching his breath. I guess I didn't plan on this being a joke ending. She smiled faintly, a shimmer across her moonlit face. Perhaps, Captain Rook? Some jokes are not jokes at all. For the first time in his life, Elias realized that being human in a galaxy of ancient empires was not a weakness. It was a strength, resourcefulness, courage, and the willingness to risk everything for others. These were things no alien strategy, no centuries of wisdom, could easily counter. Humans survived where others might fall, thrived where others hesitated, and in that realization, Elias understood something more. The future of Aurelian Prime and perhaps humanity's place in the galaxy was not just in diplomacy or weaponry, it was in trust, in bonds formed even through mistakes, in the courage to stand for what one believes is right. One careless joke had begun a chain of events that no human could have predicted. Yet, in the chaos, one thing was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated, and neither, Elias realized with a strange thrill, was an alien princess who chose to trust a human against all odds. The stars outside glimmered in silent applause as Elias and Sarilith prepared for what was next. And the galaxy, vast and dangerous, was about to witness the rise of a new kind of alliance, one forged not through treaties alone, but through courage, instinct, and the unpredictability of humanity. The Marauder fleet had retreated, but the tension in Aurelian Prime remained thick. Captain Elias Rook stood on the observation platform, eyes scanning the star-filled horizon. The crystal dome of the city reflected faint glimmers of violet from residual energy bursts, a reminder that the battle was not fully over. Every officer in the chamber was still tense, bodies tight, anticipating the enemy's return. But Elias had learned one thing in his life. Nothing was over until it was truly over. And humans survived by preparing for the unexpected. Princess Sarilith hovered beside him, her presence steady, almost like an anchor in the chaotic court. Her glow was calmer now, the soft, moonlit shimmer of her skin diffusing worry rather than amplifying it. Elias glanced at her and noticed a quiet determination he hadn't expected. She wasn't just royalty. She was a strategist, a leader in her own right, and she had trusted him in the middle of a battle. That trust, fragile yet undeniable, pressed against his chest like a weight he couldn't ignore. "Captain," she said softly, her voice carrying both curiosity and authority. "Your people, you fight in ways I cannot predict. Your thinking is unpredictable, yet effective. You are different from any ally I have known." Elias allowed himself a small, wry smile. Different usually means humans are stubborn and don't give up. Works in our favor most of the time. She tilted her head, glowing faintly. Perhaps. But in my culture, patience and calculation often outweigh stubbornness. Your methods, they surprise me. Before he could respond, a loud alarm rang across the chamber. A panel of the city's defense system flashed red. The Marauders were regrouping, returning faster than expected, their ships appearing like shards of darkness moving through hyperspace. "Looks like they didn't like our little welcome party," Elias muttered. He pressed his fingers to the control interface, attempting to understand the alien technology, translating complex Aurelian commands into patterns his mind could process. Drones were already swarming the outer perimeter, energy shields humming to life in response to incoming fire. Sarilith moved to his side, placing a glowing hand on the console. Patterns of light danced along her fingers and onto the interface, amplifying shield energy across the city. "They anticipate your strategies," she said. "But you adapt. Together, we can turn this tide." Elias looked at her, realizing just how dangerous and vital their collaboration had become. A human and an alien princess, standing together against a force that had terrorized countless worlds. He felt the weight of responsibility heavier than ever before. Yet, he also felt something else, a spark of pride, a flicker of hope. Humanity had always been underestimated. Today, that underestimation could work to their advantage. The Marauder ships struck again, Pulses of energy raked across the outer shields, sending ripples of violet and blue through the city's atmosphere. The drones, controlled by Elias's rapid adjustments, intercepted several attacks, exploding enemy ships in arcs of silver fire. But the marauders were relentless, their numbers vast, their movements precise. "Captain," Sarilith said calmly, "you must lead the city's defense, but we must also think offensively. They will not relent unless we show them weakness." Elias nodded, heart racing. "Offense? Huh? Guess humans never do like standing still anyway." He tapped rapidly on the controls, deploying drones in unpredictable patterns, using the marauders' own tactics against them. Every maneuver was a gamble, every decision a test of instinct over analysis. The Aurelian officers watched in awe as he turned their own technology into a tool of improvisation. The marauders' flagship emerged from the haze of battle. It was larger than the others, its hull jagged and black, bristling with energy weapons. Elias's eyes narrowed. "That's the one in charge. Take it out, and the rest might think twice about returning." Sarilith nodded. "I will provide support. Channel my energy through the central drone grid. Amplify the output. Together, human ingenuity and alien power combined." Energy surged across the drones, their shields strengthened, their lasers brighter, faster, more precise. Elias directed the swarm like a conductor, each drone a note in a symphony of defense. The Marauder flagship fired repeatedly, yet the coordinated attack deflected each strike. Finally, a concentrated volley of energy hit the enemy ship's core. It exploded in a silent eruption of violet and silver, drifting fragments scattering across space. The remaining marauders faltered, retreating faster than they had arrived. Elias allowed himself a brief moment to breathe. Around him, the Aurelian Council members exchanged looks of astonishment. Humans had survived impossible odds before. But this was different. This was partnership, trust, and instinct fused into one unstoppable force. Sarilith floated toward him, her glow dimming slightly as relief replaced tension. "Your people, you truly are remarkable," she said. "I underestimated the strength of humans. Not in courage, but in determination and adaptability. You inspire." Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest, a mix of pride and humility. He had never thought of himself as inspiring. He was a soldier, a survivor. But seeing her look at him like this, acknowledging what he had accomplished not just as a warrior, but as a human being, he felt something shift. The council began planning repairs and reinforcement. Drones patrolled the skies while engineers worked to restore the city's systems. Elias joined the strategy session, translating his observations into actionable plans. Despite the stress, the exhaustion, he felt alive, more than ever. Humanity thrived on challenge, and now he was proving it on a galactic scale. As the hours passed, Elias observed Sarilith quietly. She had moved seamlessly between strategy and support, her energy harmonizing with the city's systems in a way that made him realize her strength was not just in raw power, but in understanding and collaboration. He admired her calm, her ability to act decisively in moments of chaos. She was unlike any leader he had met. Wise, brave, and yet willing to trust a human who had jokingly proposed marriage moments ago. When the immediate threat had passed, Sarilith turned to him. "Captain Rook, your people, I see why humans endure. You rise when others falter, adapt when others hesitate. You are exceptional." Elias scratched the back of his head, a half-smile forming. "I guess stubbornness counts for something after all." Her soft laughter filled the chamber, a sound both alien and comforting. "It does more than count. It inspires confidence, loyalty, and hope. You have given my people that today. 12 Mai. Again them more. 12 Mai. 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 Elias glanced at the council members who had been skeptical of his presence. They now looked at him with a mix of awe and cautious respect. Humanity, once underestimated, had proved its worth, not with massive fleets or ancient technology, but with courage, adaptability, and sheer determination. Hours later, as the city settled into an uneasy calm, Elias walked with Sarilith along the observation platform. The stars above glittered like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Below, the city hummed, repairing itself, its systems slowly returning to full function. "You know," Elias said quietly, "I didn't plan on any of this. A joke about marriage, an alien princess trusting me, and now a marauder fleet trying to blow up the city." Sarilith looked at him, her eyes glowing softly. "Sometimes, Captain, life does not follow plans. It follows courage, choices, and the willingness to act when others hesitate." He nodded, feeling the truth in her words. Humanity had survived countless challenges on Earth. Now, among the stars, they were proving that survival was not just instinct, it was ingenuity, bravery, and heart. The princess's glow brightened as she stepped closer. "Captain Rook, I made a choice that may seem sudden, but it is true. I trust you. You are human. Yes. But you are also capable of seeing possibilities others cannot. That is why I agreed to your jest." Elias laughed softly, shaking his head. It was never meant to be serious. Her hand reached toward his, a gesture of trust rather than ceremony. "Perhaps it was serious enough," she said. "Serious enough for today. Serious enough to survive what is to come." For the first time, Elias felt a connection that went beyond duty or obligation. It was mutual respect, mutual understanding. Humans were valued not for their fleets, not for their weapons, but for their courage, ingenuity, and willingness to protect others. And he realized that this connection, fragile as it was, might be humanity's greatest strength in a galaxy full of ancient powers and unknown dangers. As the night stretched across Aurelian Prime, the stars blinking silently above, Elias and Sarilith stood side by side, watching the city they had saved. The threat of the marauders had passed for now, but the lessons of the day were clear. Humans could survive anywhere. Trust could be earned even in impossible circumstances. And courage, above all, could forge alliances that logic alone never could. Elias looked at the princess, and for the first time, he allowed himself to consider what her acceptance of his careless words might mean. Perhaps this unexpected bond, born from a joke, tempered in battle, and strengthened by trust, would be the key to survival in the trials yet to come. The galaxy was wide. Danger lurked in every corner. But humanity, Elias thought, would endure. And with allies like Sarilith, the stars themselves might bend to their courage. The calm after the marauder attack was fragile. Captain Elias Rook stood in the council chamber of Aurelian Prime, staring at the data streams projected in midair. The city had survived the initial strike, but intelligence suggested the marauders were far from finished. They had fled only to regroup and come back stronger. And unlike humans, they had no sense of humor, no patience for mistakes, and no respect for life. Elias rubbed the bridge of his nose. He had been trained for unpredictability, but even he had not expected an alien empire's entire council to be simultaneously impressed and terrified of a single human. Still, the battle had revealed something important. Humans did not wait for permission to act. Humans adapted. Humans survived. Princess Sarilith hovered beside him, her crown of light floating gently above her head. "Captain," she said, her voice calm but firm, "the marauders will return with reinforcements. Our scouts report a fleet larger than before, coordinated by their flagship's AI. It is highly intelligent and dangerous. You must prepare a strategy that combines your human unpredictability with Aurelian precision." Elias nodded, already thinking several steps ahead. "Then we give them something they cannot predict. Something no AI, no ancient tactic can calculate." Sarilith smiled faintly. "I have never worked with a human before, But I trust your instincts. Show me. For hours, they worked together, mapping out potential attack vectors, deploying drones, adjusting shield frequencies, and integrating human improvisation with Aurelian technology. Every calculation Elias made relied not just on numbers but on instinct, on gut feelings honed by years of surviving impossible odds. The Aurelians, though centuries ahead in technology, had rarely seen such instinct applied so effectively. Outside, the Marauders were not idle. They had returned to hyperspace, gathering more ships, refining strategies, and analyzing the weaknesses the humans had revealed. Within hours, their fleet reappeared, larger and more intimidating than ever. Ships bristled with weapons, their hulls jagged and menacing, engines glowing with a dark energy. Elias exhaled and leaned over the console. All right. This time we hit them before they can hit us. Offense is the best defense. Let's show them that humans don't wait for luck, we make our own. Sarilith placed her hand on the console. Energy flowing into the system, her glow amplifying the shields of every drone in the sky. We act as one, she said. Your humans adapt, our systems protect. Together, we are unstoppable. As the Marauder fleet advanced, Elias released the drones in sweeping patterns, flanking maneuvers, and unpredictable strikes. Energy pulses erupted as drones engaged the enemy, exploding some ships instantly, while dodging others with instinctive speed. The Marauder flagship moved carefully, calculating the attack, predicting the patterns, but Elias had already adjusted, twisting the swarm into chaotic but controlled movements that even the AI could not anticipate. The first wave of enemy ships exploded under concentrated attacks, but the Marauders were relentless. Elias had anticipated that. He deployed decoys, drones coated with reflective energy patterns to confuse sensors and mislead targeting systems. Marauder weapons fired at shadows, wasting power and leaving openings for the real drones to strike. Sarilith directed energy from her body into the city's shield network, her hands glowing brightly, her face calm and focused. She had the ability to channel immense power, but it required trust and coordination. Every pulse she sent flowed through the drones, enhancing their attacks and reinforcing their shields. Together, they created a synchronized system where human ingenuity guided alien power. Elias's mind raced, eyes flicking across the display. We'll cut off their reinforcements and isolate the flagship. Hit their supply lines. Then hit the core. They can't adapt to everything at once. The Marauder flagship fired, and a massive energy beam struck the city's outer defenses. Alarms blared. The council flinched. But Elias did not. He shouted orders to the drones, guiding them to intercept and counterattack. Energy pulses met the Marauder beam mid-air, twisting and splitting in arcs of violet and silver light. The city shuddered but held, a testament to combined human and Aurelian strategy. Minutes stretched like hours. The battle was relentless, yet Elias thrived in it. Every move, every decision, every instinct was tested, and humanity's resilience shone through. The Marauders were powerful, but they had underestimated one crucial thing. Humans did not quit, even when the odds were impossible. Princess Sarilith's calm presence was a constant reassurance. Her trust in him allowed Elias to push the limits of strategy, to make daring choices without hesitation. The synergy between human instinct and Aurelian energy was unlike anything the Marauders had faced. One by one, their ships fell. The flagship, large and ominous, loomed ahead, firing relentlessly, but Elias had already predicted its next moves. Sarilith, he called. Focus your energy on the left flank. I'll take the right with the drones. When they expose the core, we hit together. She nodded, glowing brighter. Energy streamed from her hands, connecting with the drones like lightning, forming a bridge of power and control. Elias felt the current flow through the interface, responding instantly to his commands. Together, they were unstoppable. The flagship fired again, but this time, Elias was ready. Drones swarmed around it, absorbing and deflecting energy. Sarilith channeled a massive pulse directly into the drones, amplifying their lasers and shields. Elias seized the moment, directing the swarm in a precise strike that pierced the flagship's hull. Explosions rippled across the enemy ship, followed by a cascade of smaller vessels in its formation. The Marauder fleet wavered, then broke, retreating into hyperspace. Their strategy shattered. Elias exhaled, a mix of exhaustion and triumph coursing through him. He had survived impossible odds, guided an alien army, and protected a planet under siege. But more than that, he had earned the trust of a princess, an empire, and his own belief in humanity's capacity to overcome even the most advanced threats. Sarilith floated toward him, her glow softening. "You have exceeded expectations, Captain Rook. Your people, humans, are remarkable. You do not follow rules blindly. You act, adapt, and survive." Elias shrugged, half smiling. "We get lucky sometimes. But mostly, we don't give up. We keep trying until we figure it out." Her eyes glimmered, a mixture of admiration and respect. "That is why I agreed to your proposal, though it was jest. I saw courage, not arrogance, instinct, not recklessness, strength, not fear. You are human, and that is why I trust you." Elias felt a strange warmth spread through his chest. He had never considered himself remarkable. He had survived, yes, and succeeded, yes, but to hear it recognized in such a sincere, alien way. It was humbling. Yet he understood now that humanity's greatest strength lay not in weapons or technology, but in courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to back down. The council moved quickly to restore order. Repairs to the city's defenses were made under Elias's guidance. Drones patrolled the skies, and Aurelian engineers integrated his suggestions to make the systems even more efficient. The alliance between humans and Aurelians had been tested in fire and had proven strong. Later, Elias walked along the observation platform with Sarilith, watching the stars flicker silently beyond the dome. The city hummed below, alive and recovering, a testament to collaboration and determination. "You know," Elias said quietly, "I never expected any of this. A joke, a proposal, a full-scale battle, and somehow we survived it all." Sarilith turned toward him, glowing faintly in the ambient light. "Life is unpredictable, Captain. Plans are fragile. Courage, trust, and action are what determine outcomes. Today, your people have shown that even the newest of civilizations can shape destiny." Elias smiled. "Guess humans aren't so bad after all, huh?" She laughed softly, a sound that made the crystal walls vibrate lightly. "You are more than not bad. You are extraordinary. That is why I chose to trust you, even before the battle. That is why I agreed to your words, even when they seemed careless." Elias glanced at her, understanding finally dawning. Her acceptance was not just about ceremony or obligation. It was belief. Belief in humanity. Belief in him. Belief in a shared strength that transcended species, technology, or centuries of experience. For the first time, he allowed himself to consider what that might mean not just for him and Sarilith, but for humanity's place in the galaxy. Humans had survived countless dangers on Earth. Now, in the stars, they were proving that survival, ingenuity, and courage were universal languages that even the most ancient empires could understand. The stars above flickered, silent witnesses to the bond forming between a human and an alien princess. It was fragile, unexpected, yet powerful, a symbol of what could happen when courage met trust, instinct met wisdom, and humanity met opportunity. Elias looked at the horizon, at the distant points of light representing other worlds, other challenges. Marauders, pirates, and unknown forces awaited them in the vast galaxy. But he felt no fear. Humans had endured worse, adapted faster, and fought harder. With allies like Sarilith, there was no obstacle too great, no enemy too cunning, and no star too distant to conquer. Sarilith reached out, her glowing hand brushing against his arm. "Captain Rook," she said softly, Tonight, we have survived. Tomorrow, we will ensure the safety of Aurelian Prime. Together, Elias nodded, determination hardening his features. Together, humans never stand alone, and neither should those we choose to protect. And for the first time in his life, Elias Rook understood what it truly meant to be human in the galaxy. To survive, to fight, to inspire, and to lead. The stars above glimmered silently, and the future, wide and full of danger, awaited. Humanity was ready. The night over Aurelian Prime was quiet but tense. Captain Elias Rook stood at the observation platform once more, watching the stars as distant points of light, each holding unknown threats, possibilities, and challenges. The Marauders had been beaten back twice, but intelligence reports suggested that their final assault was imminent. Unlike previous attacks, this one promised to be larger, more coordinated, and more dangerous. Elias's jaw was tight. He had survived battles before, but the stakes had never been this high. The safety of an entire alien empire and the fragile alliance between humans and Aurelians depended on his decisions. Yet, despite the weight pressing on his shoulders, there was no fear. Humans thrived under pressure. Humans adapted, improvised, and survived when others would falter. And Elias was determined to prove that again. Princess Sarilith joined him silently, her glow soft against the backdrop of countless stars. "Captain," she said quietly, "tonight, we face the Marauders at their strongest. We must use everything we have learned. Humanity's unpredictability and our energy must work as one." Elias turned to her, respect and admiration evident in his eyes. "I've never worked with anyone like you before. You make humans look slow," he joked lightly. But his smile carried sincerity. Sarilith tilted her head, her laughter quiet and musical. "And you make us believe in courage we did not know we possessed." The council had already prepared the city's defenses, integrating Elias's strategies with Aurelian technology. Drones patrolled the skies, energy shields hummed with immense power, and the city's core was reinforced against the Marauders' strongest attacks. Yet Elias knew that preparation alone would not be enough. They needed innovation, improvisation, and the human ability to see patterns in chaos. Hours later, sensors detected the incoming fleet. The Marauders moved faster than predicted, their jagged ships cutting through hyperspace with precision. Elias adjusted his plan on the fly, deploying drones in erratic formations, creating false targets, and setting traps along predicted attack vectors. The Marauders, sophisticated as they were, had never faced such unpredictable tactics. Princess Sarilith's presence beside him was a constant reminder of the power of trust. She channeled her energy into the city's systems, strengthening shields and amplifying drone capabilities. Together, human instinct and alien power formed a force that no enemy had anticipated. The Marauders struck first. Energy pulses raked across the shields, shaking the city. But the defenses held. Elias directed the drones in synchronized attacks, hitting enemy ships from multiple angles simultaneously. The Marauder fleet faltered, unsure of how to respond. "Focus on their flagship," Elias shouted, pointing at the massive black ship at the center of the formation. "We take it out, and the rest will scatter," Sarilith nodded. "I will channel all my energy into the main grid. We can amplify the drone's strike." A surge of power coursed through the city's systems, flowing into the drones like lightning. Their shields became nearly impenetrable, their lasers sharper and faster. Elias guided them with precision, adapting to every move the Marauders made. The flagship fired repeatedly, massive beams of dark energy aimed at the city's heart, but the drones intercepted each one, weaving through the chaos with incredible speed. Minutes stretched into a tense eternity. Explosions lit the sky as drones collided with Marauder ships. Energy arcs danced across the dome of Aurelian Prime, painting the city in violet and silver flashes. The council watched in awe as human improvisation turned the tide. Their ancient technology amplified by the creativity and courage of a species new to the galaxy. Elias noticed patterns in the Marauder fleet, that no AI could have predicted. "They rely on repetition," he muttered. "Every attack has a rhythm. Break it and we win." He adjusted drone movements in unpredictable sweeps, luring the enemy into traps, cutting off escape routes, and isolating the flagship. Sarilith's energy flowed seamlessly into the system, responding instantly to his commands. The synergy between them was complete, a fusion of human instinct and alien power that made the Marauder's strategy crumble. Finally, the flagship exposed its core in a desperate maneuver. Elias seized the opportunity. "Now, Sarilith." Full strike. Energy surged through the drones, their lasers converging on the enemy ship. Sarilith channeled all her power into the strike, and a beam of pure energy, human ingenuity guided and alien power amplified, pierced the Marauder flagship's core. The explosion was immense, shaking the sky, scattering smaller ships, and leaving a trail of fire and debris as the Marauder fleet fractured and fled. Silence fell over the observation platform. Elias allowed himself a long breath, his chest heaving with relief and adrenaline. The city below trembled, but it had survived. The Marauders had been defeated decisively, and Aurelian Prime was safe for now. Sarilith floated toward him, her glow dimming as calm returned. "You have done it, Captain Rook. You have saved not only the city but my people. Humanity has proven itself today." Elias shook his head, still catching his breath. "We did it together. I couldn't have done it without you, Princess. Your energy, your trust, it made all the difference." She smiled softly. "And your unpredictability, your courage, and your instincts made all the difference. You are human, yes, but you are extraordinary." Elias felt a warmth in his chest, a recognition of something deeper than victory. It was not just about survival, but about trust, partnership, and the bond forged in the fire of shared danger. Humans had always survived by adapting and protecting those they valued. Now, the galaxy had seen that humanity could stand alongside the greatest empires. Not by following their rules, but by writing its own. Later, as the city's systems were restored and drones resumed patrols, Elias and Sarilith walked along the observation platform. The stars shone bright above, distant witnesses to the courage and ingenuity that had saved a world. "You know," Elias said quietly, "I never expected any of this. A joke about marriage, an alien princess trusting me, a Marauder fleet, and somehow we survived it all." Sarilith laughed softly, her glow reflecting in the crystal of the dome. "Life is unpredictable, Captain. Plans fail, but courage, action, and trust prevail. Today, your people have proven that even the youngest civilizations can change outcomes, shape destinies, and protect allies." Elias smiled. "Guess humans aren't so bad after all." "Not just not bad," Sarilith said, her voice soft but firm. "Remarkable. You inspire trust, loyalty, and hope. That is why I agreed to your words, even when they seemed a jest. Courage does not need ceremony. Trust does not need explanation." For the first time, Elias allowed himself to consider what her words truly meant. Her acceptance had not been a whim, a mistake, or political strategy. It was belief in humanity, belief in him, belief in what could be accomplished when species work together. He looked out at the stars, at the countless worlds yet to be discovered, challenges yet to be faced, and dangers yet to come. Humanity had survived worse, adapted faster, and fought harder. With allies like Sarilith, there was no obstacle too great, no enemy too clever, no challenge too vast. The future was wide and uncertain, but Elias felt no fear. Humans had endured impossible odds, and now, among the stars, they had proven their strength once again. Courage, ingenuity, trust, and resilience had carried them through. Sarilith reached out, her hand glowing faintly as she brushed against his arm. "Captain Rook, tonight, we have survived. Tomorrow, we ensure that Aurelian Prime remains safe." "Together," Elias nodded, determination setting in his features. "Together. Humans never stand alone, and neither should those we choose to protect." For the first time, Elias understood what it truly meant to be human in the galaxy. To survive, to fight, to inspire, to adapt, to lead, and to protect. Humanity's place in the stars was not defined by fleets, weapons, or technology. It was defined by courage, resourcefulness, and heart. The stars twinkled silently above, witnesses to the alliance forged in battle. A bond of trust between a human and an alien princess. A bond born from a careless joke, tempered by danger, and strengthened through shared victory. And as Elias looked at Serelith, he realized that the galaxy was not a place to fear, it was a place to shape. With allies, with courage, and with humanity's indomitable spirit, anything was possible. The marauders were defeated, the city was safe. The bond between human and alien had grown unbreakable, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging that humanity had earned its place among them. Captain Elias Rook allowed himself a rare moment of quiet pride. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. And for the first time, he believed that nothing, not even the vastness of the galaxy, could stop what humans were capable of achieving. The future stretched before them, limitless, full of danger and discovery. But tonight, humanity had proven that courage, ingenuity, and trust were stronger than fear, stronger than death, and stronger than any enemy in the galaxy. And together, human and Aurelian would face it all, side by side.